Well, hello everyone. My name is Steve Sughrim, and it's an honor and a pleasure to share my story with you. How many of you here, in yourself know there's more to life than what you live in? Know that there's more to you than what you're experiencing. That there's a God in you there's just that something, you just don't know what, and you can't put your hand on it. Well, at age 15, living in St. Croix in the U.S. Virgin Islands, that's when I realized there was something different about me. Didn't know what it was, but I knew there was just something different. And so my quest started, moved to Florida, lived for about 2.5 years, and then relocated to the state of Washington. It was then that I realized, the success I achieved in the corporate world wasn't fulfilling that nudging, that urge within. Well, at age 36, I died. I had a heart attack. Now, I didn't go to heaven. I didn't go to hell. I didn't see lights. I just heard a voice said, "It's not your time yet." And that's when I knew that I knew I was here with a divine plan, a divine purpose. And I remember the cardiologist saying, "Steve, you're a lucky young man." I said, "No, doc, I'm a blessed young man." See, he didn't know what I just heard. And so, I still didn't have clarity what this was all about. And it wasn't until about 2015, I started getting visions. I would see myself in different countries. And it's like, I still didn't understand that. But in these visions, I would see the eyes of the people and the anguish on their face. I was like, So then it became clearer and clearer. I'm to make an impact in whatever way I can make that impact. So I went back to God and I said, "God, it's going to take money to make the impact that I'm called to make." And then started getting downloads of business ideas, financial systems that I could build. Because what the problem I had was I couldn't get people to help me. Even though there was a need and it was obvious, and I made it obvious, people just didn't want to help. And so these financial systems that I built, gosh, it created thousands of millionaires around the world. It blessed tens of thousands of lives financially. But what was most important about that was it allowed me to take over 100 children off the streets of Pakistan and create a school called School of Living Hope for them. Because education is a weapon. That's what Nelson Mandela said, And they didn't ask to come into the world and be tossed on the streets. It allowed me to, in times of the pandemic, to feed 800 families, 600 children in the Philippines. These were the Balang tribe, forgotten by the government. Fast forward South Africa in 2023, it allowed me to actually feed over 500 families, meet with a Zulu king, and propose a community transformation that would empower them. So, many of you here, and then also in just right here in the U.S., in Atlanta, we did a Youth Impact Day with the inner city youths, boys and girls, to give them hope in the future. So the systems really helped in making this all possible, simply because, it takes money, right? It's a tool here on earth to accomplish the things we want to accomplish. And so, I would say to you, if you feel stuck, if you know there's more in life for you, okay, just surrender it all. I mean, what I mean by that is, okay, a good manufacturer creates this product, but also comes with an operating manual, right? And how to operate that product. Each one of us came with an operating manual, which is a blueprint. So I would say and suggest, surrender all. Go back to the Creator for your personal blueprint, for your personal purpose while you're here on earth. You were sent with a divine plan and divine purpose to make an impact on lives of many. You may not know what it is now, but if you turn the noise off in your head and just quiet down enough so that blueprint can download into your spirit, you'll get clarity for your life and the impact you're to make and why you're here on this planet Earth. So with that, I just want to say thank you. My name is Steve Sughrim, and it was a pleasure sharing my story with you.
Good day and good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever it is that you are tuning in from. I just want to say welcome to today's broadcast. I am Lovemore Jeza and I'm your host for today. And I'm super excited today because I have an amazing guest that we have today. This is a man whose heart has always been and has always been for the people. You know, being able to almost like meet certain individuals in life is very important. Why? Because our life is supernatural. And I know that, many people, maybe when you saw our meeting for today, you were asking yourself about walking in the supernatural and being created for divine impact. And what I just want to do right now is I just want to say something that comes from the book of Jeremiah. Jeremiah chapter number 1, verse 5, it says something that is so powerful and something that is very amazing when you take a look at it. This is God speaking to Jeremiah and says, "Before I formed you in the belly, I knew you. And before you came forth out of the womb, I sanctified thee and I ordained thee a prophet unto the nations." This is God speaking to Jeremiah. Of course, not all of us are called as prophets or called into the church, but a lot of us are called into the marketplace. And you might be listening to this broadcast today and you're asking yourself, is there something that is special about me? Is there something that maybe I need to do? And I'm here to let you know that yes, you are called for something that is unique. You've got something that you are supposed to do. You've got something special that your gifts, your talents, your abilities, which were given to you by God, are only, able to be executed by you. So I just want to encourage you to invite someone to today's broadcast because I do have an amazing gentleman. His name is Steve Sughrim, and he's got a very powerful testimony. And I strongly believe that he is one of those gifts that God has given to us in this time and in this season. And of course, he has also been created, to make divine impact upon the earth. So I just want to encourage each and everyone to sit back, relax, take your notes, your notebooks, your pens, and if you want to drink some coffee or enjoy something, you know, whilst we are going through this, I just want to say do that. So, without any further delay, let me allow the one and only Dr. Steve Sughrum to come on right here, right now. Hey, yes, the one and only. How are you? And welcome to today's broadcast. How are you doing today?
Hey, I am exceedingly and abundantly blessed and highly favored. I often say when we wake up and there's air in our lungs, it's a blessed day for humanity.
Indeed, it is. And talking about just having an amazing and a powerful day, I love what David says is this is the day that the Lord has made for us. I shall be able to rejoice and I shall be glad and rejoice in it. And I think that you know not everyone is enjoying the days that they have. Why? Because when you look about, you know, maybe more than 50% or plus, right, of the people, they're just walking through life aimlessly. They don't think that there's something special about them. And up until they hear someone, telling them that there's something special about you, they might never really think that they can amount to something, you know, because the background, how they grew up, where they grew up, the kind of words that they grew up hearing. Sometimes there are people who look at themselves, and even when you try to tell them that you can become great or there's something special about you, right? It can take time for them. Sometimes it can be years. Sometimes there are people who end up eventually dying without realizing that there was something special about them. So, with you, have you ever met people like that in life? People are just walking around life endlessly because they haven't discovered who they are and that they've got something special that God has in store for them.
Hmm. So, is your question, have I encountered people like that?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, all the time. Matter of fact, just yesterday, I took some quiet time, after our meeting just to go to the beach and reflect. because for me, connecting to a divine source and getting clear direction is important to me. And that quiet time, and as I was there at the beach boardwalk, a young lady from one of the restaurants from Kazakhstan actually, just came out, and she's a photographer for the restaurant, and so we just started talking, shared where she's from. I was sharing a little bit about, my background and where I was from, and so she asked me a question. She said, and then she obviously realized I was much older. She was 20 because I asked how old she was, and she just asked me, do you have any advice for me? I'm 20, I'm just entering life. What advice could you give me? I thought that was a very interesting question, right? So it tells me that she's searching. She knows there's a place for her here on planet Earth, but what is it? The only advice I gave her, I said, look, you know, every decision you make at this age will have a direct impact on your future, whether it be good, whether it be bad. So in everything, think twice, right? Seek wisdom, seek knowledge. You got to get greater understanding before you make a decision, because it truly will impact you. And that's why I think a lot of people, you know, step into life blindly, not knowingly, and it's no fault of theirs. Okay, look, listen, we weren't like given like the blueprint for life when we were born, right? So
Right.
we have to realign to our spiritual source to get that blueprint from the Holy Spirit for direction for our life. And that's why many people are just wanderers, just wandering, trying to find their way. They know there is a way, they just don't know how to find that way, how to pinpoint, how to put their finger on, why am I here? What is my purpose? What do I serve? How could I make an impact in humanity? But they know deep down there's something. And so, yes, I find a lot of people, yeah, just wondering.
Yeah. And I trust that by the end of today, that we're going to have some people going to be stirred, with this conversation, because it is what it is. It is a conversation. And I strongly believe that those who are going to listen to us today, especially to you, your journey, and how you grew up and where you grew up. Because one of the things that I've noticed, especially, when people look at you, right? They kind of like, when they hear that there's a man who's coming, right? They kind of like have a mental picture of a person that they have. And they look at you and they're like, oh, okay. So I strongly believe that God purposefully, made it that way so that just your complexion and especially the white hair that you have right there. I always say when I grow up, I want to become like you, right?
My
But
trademark.
it's almost like becomes a natural icebreaker for you because people always want to know where are you where were you born, where do you stay, where are you from. So I think let's just start from there to say how was your upbringing and where are you from originally.
Hmm. No, that's a great question. Many people don't know. Yeah, I was actually born in Trinidad and Tobago in the Caribbean. That's where I was born. I grew up there, actually with my grandparents. Mom and dad had left to relocate to the Virgin Islands, St. Croix particularly, just to, provide a better opportunity for us. Everybody want to live the American dream, and the U.S. Virgin Islands was the closest territory of the U.S. within the Caribbean. So that's where they ended up. And so myself and my siblings stayed back with grandma. She raised us, and my grandma owned a restaurant in Trinidad, so I grew up in the restaurant. So that's why I love that aspect of life, culinary. But but I would say what was most significant and memorable for me, and being young, 5, 6, 7, I don't recall the details of it, but I do remember whether it was on a weekly basis or whether it was on a monthly basis. She would always fix these meals. In Trinidad, we're notorious for what you call roti and curry chicken and all that. Wonderful Caribbean food from the Indian aspect of it. But I remember she would make all these and put them in bags with napkins and a drink, and would wrap up all these brown bags with food. And we would go out, and she would just feed the homeless. She would just go find. I don't know if she had a particular area she would go, but I know we would stop and we would feed them, and we'd move on to different locations, and she would do that. And I was part of that journey with her that have left, an imprint in my subconscious, in my mind, of loving humanity just because, and to experience that from that level, that it was heart, well, it was selfless, didn't have to do it. She was already successful, but knowing that it was a principle she was, I don't even know if she was teaching me. I think she was just doing it. But now coming to understand, it's a divine and universal principle. What I experienced.
Yeah, and coming back, especially to what you're talking about, right? I just want to come back and I want us to stay a little bit on your grandmother. And the reason why I say that is because, sometimes, when you don't understand the importance of hanging around, right? The older generation, sometimes, maybe there's someone listening to you today and they kind of, don't understand sometimes the wisdom of God in how he can allow you to be raised up by grandparents, right? And one can grow up being bitter, almost like, what, I just wish my parents were the ones that raised me. But what they don't know is that in the future, there are certain things that their grandparents have. It can be, the culture. It can be they can teach you certain principles in life that can be able to catapult to the next level. Because I've noticed that sometimes there are certain people that when they raise you up, right, it's in the wisdom of God based on what he wants to use you for in the future. So when you hang around older people, maybe for those who are raised by great guardians or grandparents, grandmothers, they always seem like people who have that ability to think beyond their age, and the way that they've got respect and the way that they think. They don't have this usual way of thinking. Do you think that, really being raised up by your grandmother really instilled, some principles in you and shaped your character to make you the person that you are today?
No, most definitely, most definitely. I think a lot of times we don't realize the impact, one has in our life. I mean, at that young age, remember that's like a tender age for everyone. We're like a sponge, and we're soaking up, right? The knowledge, we're soaking up the information, we're soaking it up, not realizing we're soaking it up like a little sponge, right? So that's why it's important, for young children within a certain age, right, from newborn to whatever that age may be, 10 years old, right, that it's important in how we feed their mind. And that's why, the renewing of the mind, and the mind is where all the power comes. So for me, just observing, being around her, watching her kindness, watching how she just unconditionally loved people. I remember people coming to it was part bar and part restaurant, would come, didn't have money, but they were hungry, and she would just feed them, no questions asked. She would just feed them and send them. So you observe this type of hospitality, this type of unconditional love, this type of you know. I don't know, just a heart for humanity, for another human being. And yes, it does leave an impression on you. And sometimes you don't know the impact, right, in life's journey, how it has an impact, but it has an impact. At least it did for me.
Yeah. And it comes back to what David says. He says, I was young and now I'm old. I've never seen the righteous forsaken, nor his children begging for bread. And I think, I'd love to agree with you on that one. Why? Because, see, there's something about getting access to people who have lived life and they've seen everything. When you are young, your desire might be to buy the latest Audi or the latest, BMW and all of that stuff. But those who have gone ahead of us, when they look at us, they just know that, what, we can get all of those things. I mean, there's nothing wrong, with having the best of the best, but they've come to understand that, what, there's more beyond, having, a nice car or a nice house, or having the fanciest close that you can. There's something about the human being. And when you treat people a particular way, there is always going to be a greater reward because now you're not impacting, just an individual, but those who are going to be in and around that person's, whether it's work, whether it's organization, or even the person that they're going to touch their life in the future. And for me, I think I've seen that in you. And how do you really, you know, see that playing out, especially with how you were raised and how God is using you to touch and impact other people based on how you were raised now?
Yeah. So I was actually, I had another thought as you were talking, we talk about like connection back to divine source, right? And the original, our family lineage has a very interesting background. My father, lineage is from India, right? Which I've never been, which I will be. And mom, on my mom's side, my grandmother, we're talking about her lineage, is a descendant from the Jewish race, and there's some Persian and some other different cultures in there because the Caribbean is a melting pot for many cultures that were brought over as whether it be slaves or laborers from different countries to work the various plantation. So that background is very interesting too in this journey. Um, you know, we talked a little bit about moving to St. Croix. I think I was probably age 10 when we finally relocated after mom and dad reestablished. And I've shared this before, about just at that point knowing and feeling and sensing something so unique and different about me. As many people, I'm quite sure, at some point in time in their life, they stop to think to themselves, or a sensation or something within them is pulling them to greater a greater impact, right? Or a better life, or they know that there's something more to my life than just where I'm at, the job or the career or a family life or ministry or whatever it is they're doing. Because we've heard many stories where families, um, you know, of course, have the best intentions for the kids. I want you to be a doctor. I want you to be an engineer. I want you to be this. And they go to school, spend all their money. And while they're in that career now, those individuals like, this is not what I really want to do. I want to
Right.
go explore the world. I want to go do this. I'm feeling I should be doing this. I'm feeling I should be doing that. Right. So that's why I say it's spending that quiet time, right, between you and your Creator, between you and the Spirit of God, to find your bearings, to find out why you are here, right? And it's just surrendering everything you think you're taking control of that would direct your life, right? And releasing it so that way you could get quote unquote those blueprints that you came to the earth with for your life and your existence here on the earth.
Yeah. And you actually said something that's very special there because, for someone who's maybe listening to us today, they might be like, I don't know how exactly that might happen. But I think one way that one can quickly begin to discover themselves is how, and what I actually call finding God in the ordinary, right? Let's look at your upbringing, for example, right? You were born, right, in Trinidad, and obviously it was on the island. Is there some of the things maybe when you were still young that you would do that would mm, almost like pull the gifts, the talents, the abilities, right, out of you? Because look, you are still young. Obviously, maybe you didn't have someone that would have told you that, in the future, this is what you're going to do. But normally, as kids, we are inquisitive, right? We are curious. Maybe some love to jump on trees, some love to chase, dogs or whatever the case might be. But for you, what really happened? Take me back, to the
Sure.
island. Yeah, let's talk about the
Back to
island.
St. Croix, yeah, back to St. Croix. No,
Yeah,
it's I it's interesting you would ask that question because um, I would always see through the lens of God. What do I mean by that? I would always see beauty in what He's created, right? People would look at certain things, with and just look at it, whether it be a tree, whether it be a fascinated rock or whatever, right? For me, it has always been seen through the eyes of God. So what do I mean by that? In the islands, I mean, we got endless amount of coconuts, for example, right? And
right.
I give you that example. So the coconut when it dries, that's where you get the actual meat of the coconut. So you get the brown shells, the outer part of it. That's before after a certain process from the green uh, 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 beginning of a coconut. But anyways, that's trash. People, you crack it open, you scrape out the white meat out of it, and you throw the shell away. Well, often I would look at those shells and I would literally see shapes of things, continents and this and that, hearts, and I mean it wasn't perfect shapes, but the chipped pieces, in my eyes, I saw those shapes, right? So I would take them and go and, of course, sand them down into whatever shape I saw in my mind, and then polish it up and make little pins out of them, right? And I would do this and give them away, and so that was one aspect. I remember I used to like in Senkwari in particular, we have hibiscus flowers, right? And to me, it was so fascinating to watch that flower and the beauty of the color and the little orange stem with all the little pollens, and then watching the bees. Stuff like that fascinated me, right? Nature, because God created, right, nature. And so yeah, so in every aspect of seeing life through the eyes of God fascinated me, and that's when I knew, like, what is this fascination? Why am I feeling and seeing things differently than
Mm.
others?
Yeah, and that's almost like unbelievable creativity, right? And how much, would you say that creativity has really shaped the majority of what you do right now? That maybe if you would never got that opportunity, to experience those bursts, right, of creativity when you're still young, do you really think that maybe today would have built what you've built, or maybe that was the beginning of actually greater things to come, and that creativity was actually a foundation that has pushed you to accomplish all the things that you are currently doing and have done?
Yeah, so if we're connecting the dots from then to currently what I'm doing, yes, I will say yes, because you know if you look at every creator, if you will, every innovator, right? They all have a very special talent, right? And that talent is that creativity that comes to them, whatever it may be. And each one of us, I feel, when I say we serve a purpose, we're here by divine plan and divine purpose on this earth to present something, because those are gifts that are locked in us that God wants to unpack and then present the gift to humanity. So it's for humanity. So everything that today I will say that I'm experiencing, all the systems we're building even today, stems from that creativity, because remember, it never changed. The spiritual download, seeing it through the eyes of God, staying connected to understand where, say, industries are headed, the future is headed, where we're headed, where we're shifting, because we go through a paradigm shift on this earth every so often in time. We're going through one of them right now. There's a reset taking place as we speak on this planet Earth, right? So the ones who recognize it are the ones that are preparing for it. They're putting, whether creating solutions, whether it be laying a certain foundation, whether it be investing, whether it be whatever they're doing, they recognize it and they're preparing to capitalize simply on this. Because remember, trends are trends, and trends will come and go. But when you can position yourself to capitalize on a trend, by default, because of industries, because of the shift, you automatically capitalize on those trends. And so everything I've experienced thus far has prepared me for today and what we're about to accomplish and do.
Yeah, and I think this, when you were speaking, actually something just came to my mind to say it's always important that one protects that creativity, because creativity helps you to see many of our times what other people don't see about yourself. And if you allow the negative sayers out there, right, to speak down on your creativity, you might actually go through life miserable. Why? Because you always know there's something that you can do, right? You can see opportunities, but now you're almost like afraid to speak up that I have a solution. So I strongly believe that, because you did what most people would never do, which is to keep quiet, I strongly believe that you have some way, somehow, being able to develop it to a level whereby now you can offer solutions not only for individuals, but also we're talking about the global solutions. Yeah. So in your life, what are some of the things that you think that you were able to do that helped you to protect this creativity and to remain focused on it, regardless of maybe you having met other people maybe who didn't quite understand you at that time, or thought maybe, how can you be seeing shapes on coconuts? Sometimes, I still remember some people that say, when you look in the sky, look at the clouds, right? You can see Mickey Mouse over there. They're like, no, it's just a cloud. But How, for you, what would you say to that?
Yeah, what if protect? Look, so protection is one thing. I mean, I don't think you could ever always like protect ideas. I mean, in business it says keep it close to your chest, right? In other words, don't
Right.
tell anyone your ideas prematurely because that's when you start experiencing stuff you shouldn't experience.
Mm,
Like any other great idea, right? I often reference Nikola Tesla, right? He was so advanced for his time and all the downloads he got for what he was to impart into humanity. And of course, he died a sad man. And as a result, they tried to destroy him, destroy his work, and destroy him. And if we listen to really any great, we could listen to Elon Musk, we could listen to Zuckerberg, we could listen to all the greats that have done great things. I'm talking about world changers. That's what I'm talking about, world changers. Okay, and it's never been an easy road. It really hasn't been because as much as you want to protect it, you also need people to help you with it, right? Because it's
right.
going to take, right? Yeah, because it takes a village to raise a child. So in that same context, it's going to take people to help you bring that vision alive. Because I'm not a programmer. I'm not a designer. There's a lot of things I know I'm not. I'm not going to try to be, right? So I need the people with those talents, those experiences that could help me give birth to the visions, give birth to the ideas, give birth to the systems. So at some point, you want to put trust in human beings, which we do, only to be disappointed. So do you always protect the idea? Can you always protect the idea? Probably not. But you learn from it, right?
Mm,
Of when you're betrayed or when you had, thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands stolen from you, you learn to be a little more wiser, a little more protective. Your circle becomes a little more smaller, right? But it's through those experiences, through fail experiences, through disappointments, through every um, uh, challenge you could go through in giving birth to a vision, right? Is how you learn, and you learn because life is experience. No one could say they know it all. They're a liar because life
right.
up until you die is an experience. So so to answer your question, through experiences I've learned now, right, to this point at my age, in where we're about to go and what God is about to unveil, right, how to protect it. And now, more important for me, the key essence is spiritual alignment, allowing the Holy Spirit to lead and guide, right? And you know me more than any that I will not make a decision until I get like a clear confirmation in my spirit. This is the way to go. And if it's not, I don't do it, and I don't move, I don't budge. Now I'm at that position, of protection. So because the dream and the vision is too big, and it's not for me, it's for humanity, it's for the people. Everything I'm creating is to empower humanity. Everything I'm doing is to bring financial, economic opportunities to individuals in various countries, right? So that's the direction we're moving in, and so it's important to me to protect it.
Wow. That's very powerful what you said right there. And I really just want us to look at something that's very important. There's something that you always say when we are on presentations or in different kinds of high level meetings. And you always say, yes, people can call me CEO, but I always look at myself and see myself as the chief visionary officer. You know, People might not fully understand the depth of those words, but I just want to tie it to what happened to you one, simple day, and you were asked, invited to a special place where some young people were. And I think that's where you got the opportunity to now begin this awesome, amazing relationship with the one that you say he gave you the vision. You just the chief visionary officer, and this was unlocked at a Bible study. Can I take you there so that you can tell us what happened on that awesome day at this invitation that we're given to come to a Bible study, and what unlocked from there that began, you know, to have you have this foundation where you can now say that whatever I do, I no longer do it for myself. There is one who has awakened something great on the inside of me, and whatever I do, I know that I was created for divine impact.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, as you were asking that question, literally my mind went straight back to that time and point. You know, and it was vivid in my mind. You know, I shared the fact coming from the islands, and then after Sankore, well, my siblings and I relocated to the U.S. in Florida to finish school and what have you, and that's where, you know, since then I've been here in the States. But to answer your questions, you know, coming up in the islands, like at that time, my father was Hindu, mom was Catholic, so I was brought up in, you know, the two religions, and going to the various religious, you know, ceremonies, if you will. And so when I was living in Florida, I had a colleague that I worked with, and he would keep inviting me to these Bible studies, and I'll brush him off because I had no interest really. I mean, I was young, and but he keep inviting me, and finally, just to shut him up, I told him yes, right? Because I
Right.
realized he's going to keep, you know, pestering me about his Bible study. So I said okay. So I went, and I remembered him after the Bible study presenting a question to me. He says, "Steve, hey, have you ever accepted Christ as your personal Savior?" I had no idea what he was talking about. Remember, I came up in a Catholic church, and I was, you know, and then with Hindu being around, you know, the Hindu religion and understanding it, I said, look, I don't know what you're talking about, right? Because I never heard what he was asking me. So he said, no, 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 but have you ever, you know, personally ask the divine to come into your life? And I'm like, well, no, I don't. I'm still clueless, right? I said, no, man.
Right.
And I read off my accomplishments in the Catholic Church. I went through this. He said, that's great. That's. I'm glad you did all that. That's not what I'm asking you. So finally, again, to shut him up, I said, all right, I'm open. All right, if there's more to know about God, I'm open. Okay, what do I do? So of course he said, well, repeat these words after me. I repeated the words, and after I repeated those words, you know, which was asking Christ to come into my life, um, man, Prophet Lovemore, I literally fell to the ground. I felt it. My physical body fell to the ground, and I felt this heaviness lift off me. Literally, it was like the shadow of a person just got up and walked away. And I watched it, and I stood up, and it felt like I was walking on like clouds on mushrooms. I couldn't feel the bottom of my feet. It just felt like air, and you know, and that's when I realized, wow, something just supernaturally just happened here, because I felt different. All of a sudden, I felt awakened. It wasn't like I felt alive. I don't know how to explain it. I just felt different. All of a sudden, I mean, light looked different, green looked different, blue was vivid. It was, I mean, a transformation, and I guess I call that an awakening. You know, but that's what I experienced then, and that was the beginning of this journey of clarity, this journey of destiny, this journey of direction, right? So it comes back to many people are just wandering without direction. But that point, that where that clarity of direction came for me.
Wow. What a blessing that is. Why? Because when the foundation is right, you can be able to do great things, in the future. And you know, I feel I need to take you a little bit to jump certain things and come to something that you mentioned. You mentioned that there's a shift that's happening currently,
Mm-hmm.
you know, that a lot of people need to be aware about.
Mm-hmm.
What were you really talking about when you're talking about there's a shift, there's a change? Because,
Sure.
sometimes when a person speaks or says something, we kind of just like brush it off. But I really feel there's something right there with that statement. Can you make it much more clear so that our audience can be able to understand what it is that we're talking about?
Sure. Um, so that shift I'm referring to, you know, also connects the dots with certain downloads I received, you know, since, you know, you played a video about me dying at age 36, you know, as, you know, one of those pivot moments, I will say pivotal moments in my life, where, um, where the supernatural opened up to me. Let's just put it that way, right? Because it did.
Mm.
I experienced many supernatural things in my life, and the ones who know me, that have been around me, have been part of some of those experiences, so they know what I'm talking about. If you're out there, um, you know, I shared in 2012 when I received, again in my quiet time, I get my downloads, and I got the name One Vision, One Heart. Didn't know what to do with it, and that was 2012. In 2015, another name dropped in my spirit, Dominionheir, and I remember buying the domain. I had shared this before, spelled like billionaire, millionaire, Neire, and I hanged on to it. And in 2017 was from 2015 to 2017 is where all of it started becoming much clearer. There's many spiritual things that happened, in between those time frames that I wouldn't share for the sake of time. But 2017 was when really everything came full circle, exactly what, One Vision, One Heart was supposed to do. And they can go to the websites and look at that. But it's about transformation work. The whole Dominionheir concept, then clarity came in what that really meant, because they go hand in hand, right? One is making
Right.
an impact in humanity, which required money, right? Because money is a tool, and we needed that, to feed. I mean, the tens of thousands we've already, made an impact in, but I didn't have the help, right? So in going back to God and saying I didn't have the help, no one would help me. That's when He started dropping systems in my spirit to create. Okay, and this is where in that in 2015 to 2017 was where literally, I mean, it started showing me, like almost like showing me the future, if you will, what's about to come. And here's what I mean by that. So when I said the earth goes through a reset or shift every so often in time, we went through the era before the internet, right? And now we know it today as Web 1.0. And that was the introduction of the internet back then. And this was like the late 80s, early 90s. This was the birth of the WWW, the World Wide Web. And often share, that era made so many multi-millionaires and billionaires. If you knew how to build a website at the time, they were charging like 10, 20, 30, 40, 50,000 to build a website, right? Because it was so new, right? Most of us, like myself, use it as a glorified typewriter, right? Because, or a digital newspaper just to read stuff, because I didn't know much about it then, but I was intrigued. But I do recall that era so clearly. And you fast forward today where we are, it's the norm. We don't think about it. We are on Web 1 right now, right? On the internet. We're on the WW. We don't even think about it. We don't even have to type www anymore. It's the norm today. Then we started hearing about Web 2.0, and that all of a sudden is called cloud computing. Everything is going into the cloud, the cloud, the cloud. That was the birth of Google and Facebook, as we're on right now, and YouTube and all. All of a sudden now we're able to interact with each other, right? In this new era. And again, data storage in the cloud. We start just hearing about the cloud. And again, we don't have to think about it today. It's the norm. It's become the norm. We wake up, we grab our device, we're already on social media, checking our email. We don't have to think about it. Like when Web 2 was introduced, where people are asking, hey, you ever heard about Facebook? Hey, you ever heard about this thing called Google? Hey, you ever heard about YouTube? Right? It was so new, nobody's heard of it. So we're asking each other if you ever heard about it, right? So here we are today, where Web 1 and Web 2, we're in that world, and it's the norm. It's normalized after so many years. We have entered what you call Web 3.0. Now, many are becoming aware of it, but I remember in 2015 when I helped a colleague create crowd, uh, a crowdfunding platform powered by Bitcoin at that time, right? And that's when I got back into the whole knowledge. Because I'd heard about Bitcoin back in 2010 when I launched my travel company. And so, but this gave me an opportunity to really dive deeper into the technology, understand blockchain, understand Web 3.0, what is this crypto about, what is the thought process behind it, what's the purpose of it. So I did a deep dive, and those 2 years of helping develop, doing my deep dive, then all of a sudden, man, these ideas and these blueprints started coming in my spirit of what's to come. I remember in 2017, I wrote a white paper of tokenization of real estate. I wrote a white paper on how we could tokenize acts of kindness, how we could utilize this technology to bring change to humanity and empower people. And that's when it began for me, these blueprints. So we are right now right, in this shift. And I remembered in 2018, the IMF came out on public stage and made an announcement that the world banks have to shift to what you call a CBDC, a central bank digital currency, right? And 2018, here we are, how many years now? All of a sudden now, banks, right, having to shift. Well, right here in the U.S., the Clarity Act. We had a Genius Act passed, the Crypto Act, now the Clarity Act. So the bank infrastructure is resetting in preparation for this new era we're about to end. And we're in the infancy stages. That's what I mean. We're in the infancy stages. Now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, whatever the norm will be, like it is today, the norm for Web 1 and Web 2, we'll find out. But it presents an opportunity for you and I now, right? Because of the shifts, the changes, and the governments and these countries having to shift and prepare for this new era we're about to enter. So that's what I mean by those shifts.
Yeah, and I'm going to take you, to some of the things that you have built now via the downloads that God has given you. But I just want to ask you this question based on your observation. Do you really think that people are awake right now to this technology that you're talking about, or people are really sleeping on it, or do you feel like people maybe almost like a deer in the floodlights, right? Some headlights are
Mm-hmm.
on, and they're just looking at this, and they're like taking their time looking at this opportunity. Do you still feel like what happened to most people when Web 1 came and Web 2 came? People were just maybe just looking at what is this. Do you really think that people are sleeping on this opportunity? And do you foresee a lot of people getting, really punished for sleeping in this season? And with punished, I really mean like sometimes people miss an opportunity and they can recover. But do you think that the people who are going to miss this train this time are going to have an opportunity to recover, or it's one of those shifts that whoever is going to go ahead with this moment, they are going to go far, and those who are going to be left behind, they might really need, to have maybe a one or two generations to catch up in the future.
Yeah, a great question. You know, couple things. Everything I share, of course, is my opinion based on my research and, of course, based on the spiritual downloads. I will say this because we talked about Web 1, Web 2, and there's still people out there even today don't even have a website, right? So they
Right,
haven't even
right.
caught up with Web 1 or Web 2, okay?
Mm,
And for whatever reason, I don't know, right? But we know today in this day and age, the era we live in, if you don't have some sort of presence on social media or on the web, you're pretty much irrelevant, right? No one knows you. So it's like having the best product or service or restaurant. If nobody know you exist, you might as well close your doors because there's no customers. So it becomes the same thing. No, I will say, to answer your question, I will say this. Okay, today we have AI technology. We have so much technology that one can do their own research. Because remember, uh, you know, a people group perish for what? A lack of knowledge, right?
lack of
And that's
knowledge.
why Solomon, asked for four things. He asked for wisdom, knowledge, understanding, and discernment. Four things. Because if you get, if you get the knowledge, right, you'll have a greater understanding. And if you have a greater understanding, you can make wiser decisions. So you don't have to listen to me or listen to anybody else. You can do your own research on what's going on in the world with Web3 technology now, with all this AI, with crypto, with Bitcoin, with everything we're hearing. Because now it's mainstream media talking about it. It's not like in 2015. Um, it's not like 2015 where when you hear like say Bitcoin is in people's mind, oh, scam, run far, 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 right? But then you fast forward to today, you look at countries now, including the U.S., that has a Bitcoin reserve. China has a Bitcoin reserve. Bhutan, Bitcoin reserve. El Salvador, countries now have Bitcoin reserves, and they're acquiring, right? I mean, billions of dollars worth of Bitcoin. Why? Why are they doing that? You look at leading companies like MicroStrategy. We look at Tesla. We look at Coinbase. We look at all these, and you guys can do your own research on what I'm telling you, right? That have their own personal Bitcoin reserves and acquiring Bitcoin, right? So individuals like you and I now have the same equal opportunity. We just have to ask why are they doing what they're doing? Is there a reason? Do they know something we don't know, right? So it's paying attention to what is happening in the market, is paying attention to what's happening in different industries, is paying attention because Web3 is here. AI technology is here. All this technology is here, and it's our tomorrow, it's the future. So it's understanding it, not being afraid of it, right? Again, it's that knowledge and that understanding. Learn it, learn it. If you don't know, learn it. You've got Claude, you got ChatGPT, you got Gemini, you got all these AI learning tools you could learn and get the knowledge that you need. You don't have to listen to me, you don't have to listen to you or anybody else. Get the knowledge, go to the experts. There are many experts out there that can give good, sound financial advice in this industry. Are they all saying the same thing? Is there commonality in what they're saying and where we're moving that we, the average person, can set ourselves up for true generational wealth by capitalizing on all these technology, right? Whether it be in the crypto space, whether it be in all these different AI develop, I'll call them frameworks that are being developed right now to help advance humanity or help advance us financially or help advance us with our health, help advance us with our mindset. I mean, there's different, applications that we could apply these technologies to.
Yeah, and I love what you just said right there, because I strongly believe that a lot of people they're missing out on what is possible because of the environment and the people that they're listening to. Because when you walk with the wise, you're going to become wise. And there's no way you're going to embrace technology if you are not hanging around people who are embracing it. So a lot of people, I believe that they're always left behind because they're always hanging around people who are saying, you know what, AI is it's one of those things. No, I'm not going to lose my job. It's not true that a person can be able to start a company that becomes a Fortune 500 company all with AI. But I strongly believe that we are coming to those days, and I think we have already, if a person is well read, you realize that there are companies that are being run by two people, right? But they are also already making billions and millions, right, using AI, right? And you're talking about the blockchain technology right there. And many people, when they hear about blockchain technology, they're just thinking, Bitcoin or whatever the case might be. But there's various uses that the blockchain is used for. Can you just maybe elaborate a little bit on the importance of number one, having, a cycle of people who are future and forward thinkers, and number two, some of the things that blockchain technology can be used for today.
Yeah, and well, the beauty with the blockchain is for transparency, really, because
Right.
it's a public ledger, right? There's no more where behind the scenes you're fudging the books, right, cooking the books, and manipulating the books, and that's what blockchain presents and offers, and that's why now we're hearing this whole terminology of tokenization, right? Tokenization is the next level, is where we could take real world assets and tokenize it. We could write smart contracts on the blockchain where you and I now has visibility of what's going on in a real world application. And so it presents, and that's what I'm saying, right? We're at the infancy stages of this new era. And if one can open their mind and possibility of what is. Now, again, it's not for everybody. Not everybody wants to be a Elon Musk. Not everybody wants to be a Steve Jobs. Not everybody wants to be you know what I'm saying? A mover and a
Right.
shaker and a world changer. Now, some are called and some develop themselves. Not everybody wants to be in business. A lot of people are just comfortable sitting and doing their 9 to 5 and coming home and comfortably relaxing with family and watching TV and rinse and repeat every day. So it's different strokes for different folks, right? But for the ones who are definitely, I would say, um, wanted to know more, want to be more, want to be a bigger impact, right, in whatever capacity. And I often say this, and to talk about that technology and stuff is this, and I will always reference the great Miles Monroe. Many of you know him. And he said one of the richest place on planet Earth is the graveyard because so many people die with their dreams, with the visions, the books they haven't written, the ideas they have. I mean, for whatever reason, right? They got stopped in the track for whatever reason. But they go to the graveyard with it. They were sent to the earth with it, right? But then they go to the grave, and one day they'll face those dreams and ideas, asking them, "I chose you to give birth to me and you didn't. Why didn't you?" You know. And so no, so we have to utilize, explore, and we have to take a leap of faith. Everything I've ever done has been a leap of faith. Just believe in, just believe in, just believe. I just knew, and I knew. Sometimes I don't even have to think twice. When I get that prompt, I just move, because a lot of times that's how every great have done it. Elon will tell you, anyone will tell you, right? Is they took that leap of faith, knowing that it will work out somehow, right? The divine will work it out. God will work it out. The universe will work it out. Whoever needs to work it out, it'll just work out because it was meant to be. And that's how my journey has been, even to today, in everything that we're doing. Is I have taken that leap of faith and let the divine alignment put things in order and orchestrate and move things in a forward motion. Now, yeah, does that mean that there's not going to be challenges along the way? Absolutely, there's going to be challenges along the way. I recognize that, but you know, but the technology is there for us today. We're talking about AI technology, for example. Think about it. If you were to, like, say, write a book, right, the old-fashioned way, how long it would take you to write a book? We could use AI and write a book in a day. I mean, that's the possibility, right? Maybe you're trying to create some sort of financial tool. Well, now you've got AI automation to help you, right? I
Right.
mean, literally quantum leap that production for you. You mentioned about people running companies and starting multi-billion dollar companies just with AI. It's happening before our eyes. There's individuals who are learning, again, it's the knowledge on how to do it, and then apply it. You could build apps now. There's so much you could do. That's what I'm saying. There is literally endless possibility right now with this blockchain technology now coupled with the AI technology. So learn blockchain. If you don't know it, learn it. What is it? What is the purpose? What does it do? What problems does it solve? Can it help my business today? Right? So this is the problem. Could it be a solution to my problem in my business, in my life, whatever it may be? Could it be a solution? That's what I think everyone should start. Could it be a solution? And if it is, how do I create that solution now to solve my own personal problem?
Well, and talking about solutions, right? I'm going to ask you a question, but I do have some amazing people that are sending their greetings because we are on YouTube and we are also on two platforms on Facebook. And Noreen is saying greetings from Florida. We've got Mbali, right? She's saying good evening. Very blessed to be there. And we've got Okari Obene, right? Says amazing to have a CEO who fears God. I'm Okari Obene from Port Harcourt, Nigeria. So we do have some people right here. We've got Nelly Swa, also, and Zoe, of course, from South Africa. We've got the crypto boss lady in the house. Craig Grants is here. We've got Joanne Nikesa, Bennett Fortune, talking about the invincible conditioning that's happening there. And Trinidad, she says, is proud to have you. This is the crypto boss lady. And we do have Ivory Star. And of course, some other comments will keep on coming in here. But what I just wanted to say to you is that, you do have some people who really, really are enjoying what you're saying. And of course, we do have Angela who says greetings from Canada. So Angela goes a long way. And of course, Angela is doing some amazing, amazing things. And talking about solutions that really change people's lives, you are working on something, right? That's special, where business owners can be able to really, really, connect with you, and there are services that you can, offer them, regardless of what it is they want to
Mm.
build. There's one engineer I was speaking with, and I told them about one of the things that you are able to do, and they were like, "Okay, can I connect with Dr. Steve because I want to develop this software. I want to do this. I want to do this." And I was like, "Man, you're going to be blessed to meet this man. Yeah, he has an amazing, amazing team. And whatsoever it is that you want as a solution when it comes to business, when it comes to software development, when it comes to counsel, maybe you want to build your business from thought to fruition. You can be able to take you through a process and you can have your own company." I was super amazed. But talking about the marketplace and business owners, people who are here, maybe they have questions, they've got things they want to build. and all of that stuff. I think this is the right time to be able to talk about, this wonderful platform that you
Mm-hmm.
have and how people can be able to really, really almost like stop staying stuck like Chuck and make sure that they build what they want built using your platform. Can you just
Mm-hmm.
do a little bit of a dive in there and let
Yeah,
us know what is it
yeah,
that you have?
absolutely. Before I even go there, Papa Lovemore, I want to share something. It just came to my spirit, and is this okay? For entrepreneurs or individuals who have ideas and dreams and are trying, they're trying because none of us have the perfect formula. None of us do. All right, we learn by trials and error in life. So is life. So is take a relationship. It's by trial and error, right? You get in a relationship, you got to learn each other. You got to understand each other, right? It's a learning process. And I'm using a physical relationship in my example to go where I need to go so people can understand this. So that's why relationships sometimes don't last long, right? Lack of communication, lack of understanding each other. It's work. To build a relationship is work because you're taking two different personalities and trying to understand those personalities, right?
Wow.
So it's going to take work to understand each other. What what words or what actions will help excel me or pull me down, vice versa, right? What because everybody learns differently. Some are audible, some are visual, some are there's different learning techniques, and we're each individual. That's why God made us each unique in our own way. We're all individual, unique human beings. So when you take a relationship, for example, it takes work, right, to have a successful relationship. In business, it's no different. So we don't come with that perfect blueprint of how this business is going to start and end, right? So it's trial and error. So for many of you who are starting businesses, maybe you're in a business, you're facing different setbacks and disappointments, people cheating on you, people doing this to you, stealing your idea. We're gonna go through that. That's part of life journey. That's part of what I call school of hard knocks and learning life, learning business. But we learn from it, right? Les Brown said, if life knock you down, make sure you fall. When you fall down, fall on your back, because if you look up, you can get up, right? So
Right.
and so we keep getting up, we dust off, and we keep going. Learn from the mistakes, learn from, and that goes for anything in life. A relationship, if it didn't work out, how could I have made it better? What could I have done different for the next
Mm.
relationship? If it's in business, what should I have done differently that next business will be successful? And if you go through challenges in that one, okay, what adjustments from this one could I make for the next one? So my life journey from when I started to where I am today, right, to the things we're about to unveil, has been a life journey, life disappointments, right? And a lot of time, I guarantee you, every person with a good heart comes with good intentions. And sometimes those good intentions may not pan out the way you expected, maybe because of bad actors. Maybe I call them wolves in sheep clothing, show up in your midst. Maybe because of whatever, right? You put trust in people that steer you in the wrong direction, right? These things happen in life. That's life. Okay, life happens. Okay, but it's about rebounding, it's about regrouping, and it's about moving forward with whatever the vision, mission are for each one of the individuals out there that are watching. For me personally, where I'm at right now has been a blessing because all those experiences, right, that I've experienced has brought me to where I'm at and about what we're about to do. And it's not what I'm about to do, right? You mentioned about me being a chief visionary officer. And that's true. I appreciate all the titles mankind could give me, CEO, founder, whatever, whatever. That's great. But I'm just managing the vision that God gave me for where we're headed, right? And it's for a specific purpose, and that's to make an impact in humanity. So now let's come back to what we're doing. Collaboration is one of the best gifts on earth because we don't have to reinvent the wheel. Okay, there are so many great inventors out there that have created, and some of the greatest companies come because of collaboration, because of partnership. If you don't have to reinvent the wheel, don't reinvent the wheel. Okay, so what I have found is that through collaboration now we can do so much more. Like right now, we've collaborated with a company out there that's providing some amazing products. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. What we did though was something unique and different with what we're about to launch. and that is I mentioned about the Web 2 world and the Web 3 world, right? So we're
Right.
creating this bridge between the two worlds, meaning that to access our product, we're going to be unveiling these products probably in about a week or two, okay? So I'm not going to, totally give
Yes,
right,
of
okay.
course.
Right. So we're creating this bridge now where to access all these products that we've collaborated with, we've literally developed now. Okay, my team and I developed from scratch. We wrote the codes on how we create this bridge to where to access the products you need crypto. You need whether Bitcoin or USDT, right? To access the product where in the normal Web 2 world, you need a credit card or debit card to access it, right? So that's the first little small innovation we did, is creating the codes to merge the two first. And now with accessing the tools with crypto, that raises like another level of curiosity. Well, because here's why. Because I knew the time was going to come, and it has come now, where mainstream media, I'm talking about
Mm,
mainstream media, CNN, CNBC, NBC, are talking about Bitcoin. Why? Because of this Clarity Act now. Because it's the talk of the town, it's the talk of the world, crypto. So now all of a sudden, I was already preparing since 2017 for this, right? Here we are. And now it raised curiosity, it raises opportunity for our affiliates because we do have an affiliate model to it. And now there's that first bridge. Now, the second very unique thing is your for us now, you're going to buy packages, you're going to get these credits, and these credits you can use to redeem the products from our partners, right? Which will help now individuals, companies, anyone around the world now generate leads, get sales, create workflows, automation using AI technology. We've merged it all in one platform. Okay, and now we've created this very unique affiliate program attached to it, to where now our affiliates are earning in crypto. See, we come back to the Web three. We're kind of weaving the Web 2 into the Web 3, right? To bring
right.
opportunities that are different and unique. Now, you asked me a question about a percentage that might miss out on where we are. Because here's the thing about it: if you really do an assessment or a deep research on the percentage of the world population that even know about crypto, you'll be shocked to find out is literally a percentile of a percent of world population even know about it. So hardly anybody know. I mean, the ones who are talking more advanced talk about, like, we talk about smart contracts and we talk about all these different innovation. That's even a smaller percentage. So there's a wide opportunity for everyone around the world, right, to participate and learn. And that's why I say I don't know in 10, 20, 30 years what that norm, what when it normalizes, what that is going to look like. But we are the infancy stages. That's why I say if we could see a way to solve a problem. And that's why I say in 2017, when God started giving me these downloads, I started writing white papers. And here's a ironic thing about that too, and I'm going to put it out there. I remember in 2017 when I started writing the white paper of how we could tokenize real estate and tokenize acts of kindness, and I saw God just gave me this whole vision. I wrote it down. I was sharing it back then, and people were excited. Some of them were helping me with it, and I almost started getting in trouble. My attorney say, "Hey, you need to stop." You need to stop. Because why? Because the government hadn't figured out how to regulate crypto at that time. It was so new, right? It's kind of like going back now to Web 1, right? The World Wide Web. It was like the Wild Wild West. No one knew about it. There was no regulation. There was no way to govern it, right? It was so new. It was a new technology. Every new technology, of course, brings its own problems and headaches for governments, because how do you regulate it? You don't know. And that's why the rules right now have to be rewritten for this Web3 world, and especially with the bank and finance, because they're still operating under the old rules, right, of the banking system, as to where now the world is shifting to the Web3, where potentially, and I'm saying potentially, you could store digital asset like maybe a stable coin or even Bitcoin in our local bank accounts, right? So, but I saw that in 2017. I wrote it. I got the documented proof of this. 2018, we wrote a second white paper. I even built a website because I said to myself, wait a minute, if everybody's going to be making all this crypto, and this crypto is going to be creating millionaires and billionaires and trillionaires, how are they going to spend it? And remember, I got a very inquisitive mind, right? How are they going to
Right.
spend it? We're going to need, right now, I swipe my card. So we're going to need like a card, a crypto card to spend this, right? I had already, man, started putting things in motion. Wrote 2022. We wrote a third white paper on how this would be possible. I elaborated even more, and then we put that in motion back then. I got a documented proof of everything, right? So we started developing different platforms. So, anyways, so that's where we are on the first aspect. We have two more aspects, but I just want to stay on where we are right now with this bridge of the Web 2 to the Web 3 with all the current products and services, the affiliate marketing piece where members can earn through our protocols we've built out. And we're developing, we continue to develop. I got one of the most amazing development team. We just actually brought in a second development team for the second project. If you want, I can talk about that. But even right now, I mean, we got an amazing team from video makers to the brand management to our you mentioned about two things you asked about, like individuals needing a solution. We've now evolved into a tech company where we're developing for companies. We're creating different frameworks and infrastructures for companies now. So why is that important? From a dream and idea, all the failures, all the disappointments, everything. I never gave up. I never gave up. Why did I not give up? I never gave up because it was about the vision and the purpose we were doing it, and the problems we were solving into the future. And this is just, and believe it or not, all those years, all those experiences, wins and losses, both have brought me here, and we're just now beginning. We're just now beginning. Just now beginning.
Wow. Yeah.
you know? Yeah.
Well, and so true. And I love what the Imam Kodo is saying. Say crypto is really where we have to be in the 21st century, and it's so true. You've
Well,
also get
yeah,
yes,
and on that comment, here's the thing. Here's the one word, right, that you're going to hear more of. Tokenization. That's the word right there.
right,
Tokenization. Because now we are able to tokenize. It's called RWA, real world assets. We're able to tokenize real world assets. I'm talking about anything and everything. Right now, real tokenization of real estate is a real thing. And I wrote a white paper in 2017 of tokenization of real estate. 2017, almost what, 10 years later, it's a real thing. But God gave me the blueprint then for this. And here we are today. And it's becoming a real thing for us too because we've already. Anyways, I'm excited. I want to share everything. But guys, we are like in the best time ever, ever, ever when it comes to
wow,
innovation, when it becomes from a earner perspective, where it just harnessing all this technology, blockchain technology, AI technology, this whole crypto space, idea of tokenization, tokenizing, real world assets. So yeah.
wow. So this is super cool. I see Ruben Edwards is enjoying himself, and of course we've got Bukiwe joining us from South Africa, and yes, we've got Mela CF 4400 is saying happy, super fantastic Sunday to you all. I believe that you're almost like touching some people's hearts right there. We've got Tolakele Dlamini is saying Viva South Africa. Yes, and of course, we've got the Penny Bella of Fato8320 saying greetings from Las Vegas. So we do have such an amazing audience on these three platforms. And I strongly believe that what you're saying is resonating with them. And I just want to say to you that, of course, there is some good things that's happening. And what you have, it can't just be with you alone. Are you traveling? Do you have an intention of traveling, speaking and all of that stuff? What plans do we have? Do we have any meetings that are upcoming? Do you have places where you're coming? And is it true that you were on TEDx just a couple of weeks ago?
Yeah, yeah. No, one of the things, as we continue to evolve, as human beings, as we continue to evolve in our calling, if you will, as we continue to evolve to be a voice, right, out there. And again, not everyone is called, right? That what's it, right? So,
Right.
um, you know, but there are a chosen few. I'll say that many are called, but few are chosen. And when you know you're chosen, you know you're chosen. Okay, now this is another level. And for me, it's always been a desire, um, to fulfill my God-given destiny, if you will, right, by being that voice of impact. And the power of manifestation, the power of visualization, I've applied this many times, right? Through whether it be formulating food products and getting it to the market, having a business idea and seeing it through to fruition through the challenges, no matter what anyone would say, haters, speculators, whoever, right? But seeing it through. Because they don't know what's within your spirit and your heart and the intent God has put there for you for that impact and to present that gift to humanity. And so for me now, yeah, that TEDx, the local one, it was a small segment, what it means to be human and how appropriate, right? Because our Foundation One Vision One Heart is about humanitarian work. And so it gave me an opportunity to just share. It goes beyond business. It goes beyond technology. It goes beyond that. Is realizing that the way you reach a human being is by giving them a helping hand, right? And so
Right.
that was the beginning, I would say, of many beginnings. Now, yeah, I've spoken in other stages, but I see now as we launched into this new era in business, in branding, in the two phases yet to come, in offering these different opportunities, it's now taking this message out there how we could literally make an impact in humanity with the technology, how we can make an impact in individuals' life by bringing economic opportunities to them in the various countries. And so, yes, we are definitely. I'm looking forward to it. I've got India on the calendar. I've got Nigeria on the calendar. I've got South Africa on the calendar. We got the Philippines on the calendar. Here in the U.S., Florida actually, one of the places to where we're going to be actually um, making an impact in a greater way through our conferences we're going to be starting. And I'm not going to share the name or anything just yet. That because what we want to do is to create a global community where truly it's for the people and by the people, right? And that's what in the world of Web3 you'll hear a DAO, a decentralized autonomous organization, where it's a community built by the people for the people, and that's what we're building right now. Right now, we are about close to 18,000 strong of a community around the world. That's why we're seeing comments from different parts of the world right now. And,
Right.
uh, and this is just the beginning of where we're starting here, okay? Because it's my desire to see people be set financially free, number one. Number two, I realize too, many people are dealing with health issues. It takes money. We have to look at it this way. It says that, uh, uh, you know, the, it says the love of money is the root of all evil. But that's not what it really says. The truth is, for the love of money is the root of all evil. Because people will do bad things. They'll kill you for money, right?
Yep.
But
So true.
money is a tool, right? And money is what moves the world. It's a currency. It flows, and we need that currency flowing to keep the world going. Without a currency, we have nothing. That's what keeps the stock market going. That's what keeps every economic engine going. Money, finances. So we have to be smart about money, and we have to understand a poor mentality will keep us trapped. But when you start thinking differently in the way God created the earth, right? Because he created and he gave certain instruction. Multiplication was one of them, duplication. So we have to multiply our money. I did a segment on the parable of the talents, for example, how we could use this technology coupled with the parable of the talents to literally 1000x the process, right? Quantum leap the process, that we don't have to go through the traditional method of fundraising, but we use this technology to accomplish the same thing every individual, every company, every nonprofit, every NGO wants to accomplish, and that's the passion that's within their heart to bring good to humanity, right? So
Right.
or whatever it is, maybe you want to build schools or community centers, whatever it is within your local city, it takes money. So we have to understand that. And we have an opportunity right now with this technology to create money, right? For the same cause. It's just we're shifting the focus on how we do it. Not the old method of doing it. The cause is still the same, but the how to, right? It's kind of like, for example, because I'm a chef and I love culinary. Think about, for example, making bread, right? You got to knead to do it until your arms are tired. You need it. And then here comes technology. Create a machine. You can just throw the dough and the machine's doing it for you. You just come
Right.
back and drink your coffee and let a machine do it for you, right? That's what I'm talking about, right? The old
Yeah.
method versus the new method. So you want to continue the old method? Nothing wrong with that. If you love your food, you want to get your hands in it. But but there are other technologies that can do it. So maybe that little machine could make you 1 or 2 pans of bread. But what if now a new machine is developed that could produce 100 pans of bread? Oh wow, new technology that can, 10x or 100x the production, right? That's what I'm talking about. The new technologies. So I'm not sure what the question was, and I kind of went off track of my answer here, but I went off. What was the question?
Oh yeah, you touched most of it, and I was
Oh,
saying, are you traveling anytime
oh,
soon?
traveling,
Yes.
yes. So
Yes.
yes, the traveling part. Yes, no, we have plans to really to bring this message out of this bridge to bring different messages out there. But it's about empowering people with the knowledge and understanding where the future is and the different opportunities that are available to them. So yeah, so we have those particular countries on the calendar as to when we'll announce it. And then next year is we're starting our very first conference. We're literally going to be collaborating with CEOs of many industries to bring this knowledge, bring the ideas, bring just guys. This we're about to head into 2020. I'm already in 2027. Believe it or not, 2026 is over. I'm
It's
already
over.
into 2027. Already
Yep.
planning for the great things that are ahead of us and our community and for the world with these different technologies and different innovations. I'm very excited because our team is growing now. Like I said, we've got another phase two of everything we're doing. I'm excited about it. We'll announce that later, but that's a whole different tech team that will be managed, different development, and then we have a phase three going into 2027. I'm excited to roll that out, and that's a whole nother development team we have there in collaboration with my existing team, and we're going to be introducing something very unique. It exists right now, but the way God showed me to package it is going to be different. And that in itself, in the first quarter of next year, oh my God, I can't wait to unveil it. It's literally gonna change lives in a way lives have never been changed. Through what? This Web3 technology called blockchain technology, AI technology in the world of cryptocurrency is gonna be beautiful.
Wow. Yes, I can see it. That smile on your face. You're like, okay, let's go get it. Let's go do it. And of course, with some greetings that keep on coming in, we've got Andrea Patterson is just saying, greetings, everyone. A very inspirational, you know, moment here, listening what's happening here. Greetings from Trinidad and Tobago. And that is A. Philopez, right? And Thelma Mafara she's saying, greetings from Zimbabwe. And of course, um, we've got a nice comment here. Ecclesiastes chapter number 10, verse 19 speaks of money answering all things as well. So we do have a warm audience today, and I know that the people are super excited about what's happening. And yeah, Dr. Steve, I strongly believe that you know what, if you and me are going to spend the next 2 hours here, we will stand here. Why? Because vision always comes alive. And I'm happy about the progress. I'm happy about what I'm seeing. The comments that are coming in here. It shows that we really need to be doing this, more and more, so that the people can be able to hear what you have been cooking. And I don't know if you have anything that is in near and dear to your heart, maybe some parting words that you just want to leave to the audience, something that comes from your heart that you just want the people to know and to hear
Sure.
from you.
No, absolutely. And I appreciate all the comments and the viewers, and of course, many. Of course, there'll be rebroadcasts, and we'll have others be watching the replays. And I appreciate each one of you actually, being here and participating, and just listening, because when vision speaks. And the only thing I could say in part in words is really, follow your heart, follow your heart desires because God placed them there, you know. And for the ones who are might be, we open it up talking about wanderers. People are just wandering aimlessly and don't know where they don't know their place, you know. Um, as for me, you know, even though I wasn't looking, it took a spiritual experience to awaken me. Okay,
Yeah.
and I think we're going through right now. No, nothing. I know we're going through a spiritual awakening on the earth right now. Right, people are becoming awakened, and at some point we just need to quiet down life, right? Get away from the business of life to just spend time with God, to get spend time with yourself, to ask yourself and ask God, you know, what is my purpose on the earth? You know, why am I here? Why was I sent? Because remember, if you go back at the very beginning, we were created twice, and people don't realize that. From the beginning, right? He created man in what? His likeness and his image. So what is his image? He's a spirit being. So will we? Is that to imply we were created in a spirit first? Okay. Then he created the earth, which was physical. Everything on the earth is physical. So how could a spiritual being have control or dominion over a physical world? It's impossible, right? So therefore, he took the second creation, the dirt of the earth. So he took the dirt from the physical earth he created, and he formed man. And what did he do? He took that same spirit and he blew it into the nostril of man, and man became a living soul. And here we are. So then, if that's the case, we were first spirit, right? Experiencing this human experience on earth. So we've got to go back to the creator and find out, you know, where we came from, our purpose here as a earth, as a human being. And that's where that alignment comes, you know. So it's just going back to the creator to get grounded, to get alignment and to understand why you're here. So, and each one of us, you know, go through our own journey. Some of us, unfortunately, have to wait for something catastrophic to happen to life before we go back to God or go back to our Creator. Or, you know, I would just say, hey, you know, because of where we are in the era time and where things are, the things that are happening in the world, right, with all these wars and uncertainties and things, this is a time we should get back you know, to that place of, you know, on our knees, back to prayer, back to alignment, back to, you know, where we need to be just to get that clear direction for our future.
Yeah, and I wouldn't agree any more or less because sometimes the illusion of time is that you think you still have a lot of it. But the truth is, for many who are listening to us, watching you, who have been listening to you, um, the truth of the matter is we don't have, a whole lot of time. You know, it doesn't necessarily mean that by tomorrow we'll not be here. But I think when you really have a lot of things that you really want to accomplish, you're going to realize that, you know what, even if you're going to run as fast as you can, 20 years might not even be, enough because you've got so much to give and so little time. So,
Well,
yeah,
exactly, and a thought sparked when you said that, and you're right because, okay, um, each one, right? Only God knows how many, right? Days, weeks, months, years we're here on this planet Earth, right? So it's a short journey, really.
yeah,
And you know, man have created, you know, chronological time to kind of keep us, you know, moving, right? And so we're living in this world of, you know, governed by chronological time, but that chronological time now is governed by our biological time because our biological time is the time we have on this earth. And even if we live, I think the Bible says like 124 and 25, it's not long. And you think about all the degenerative diseases now people are dying from, they're dying at an early age. In the 30s, 40s, they're dying now. Not like before in the 40s or 50s where they're living to be 100 years old. I mean, you know, so we got to look at that. But that that chronological time within our biological time, and that all fits within Chronos time, which is God's time, in which there is no time. So we are just a little segment in time, a segment of time to accomplish whatever we're to accomplish that we're sent to the earth for. So we have to take time very seriously because that's our only commodity. That's our only currency we have on earth right now is time, right? So we can't manage time. Whoever tell you can manage time, is fooling you. There's 24 hours in a day, whatever you do with it. But you can't be efficient with the time you set aside for whatever it is you're going to do, right? Whether it's work on you, work on whatever, be efficient with that time and make the best of it. Because before you know it, as we're about to enter into 2027, 2026 just left. What happened? So could everyone look back to, today, it was August 23rd, and look back from January and say, did we accomplish some of the things we said we were going to accomplish when we left 25 into 26? Only everyone can do a personal assessment and answer that question. If not, what happened to all those months that went by? What did you do? Right? You weren't being efficient with time. But it's never too late. You can start today and make changes that 2027, at least you could enter into 27 saying I accomplished something. Some of the goals, some of the resolutions, some of whatever it is you say you wouldn't accomplish this year, still got time. But it's going to take a decision. It's going to take discipline. It's going to take consistency, right, to accomplish these things.
Yeah, so true. So true right there. And of course, Zoe Jeza says, I am here too. Sending a greeting there. And of course, Ibrahim WJ Munzava is saying, I'm watching from Tanzania. And a Philopez says, yes, I agree. And awakening. And of course, Ukyo says, thank you, Dr. Steve, for your heart. And yeah, Dr. Steve, we do not have time as much as the people think that they do. And, before you know it, like what you said, we are going to be able to hear Merry Christmas and the Happy New Year. And you're going to be like, oh, wow, man, 2027 already, So I just want to say thank you so much, Dr. Steve, for just being here with me. Time always flies when we are on these meetings, but I strongly believe that you're going to come again soon. And you will have more to share with us. And I just want to say to each and every one of those who have been joining us on these three platforms, I just want to say thank you guys for the comments, for the likes. And of course, if you are watching us on YouTube or you're on Facebook, maybe just came in via the link, I just want to ask you that you can like and subscribe so that you can get a notification right next time when we are going to be on this place. And of course, Dr. Steve, it's always an honor and a privilege to be here with you. I just want to say thank you so much for this time that you took out of your busy schedule to make sure that you come and speak with us and share this wonderful opportunity with us. I just want to say thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, for the segment and having me. And it's always a pleasure to share what God has in my heart with the people. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So yeah, I think we are just going to play a little bit of some music, and I'm gonna choose which one. I know you've got some favorite over here, but let me see what I'm going to play so that the people can just be blessed, while at least we are calling it a day. And that is going to be this one. All right, Dr. Steve, we will see you and we will leave the people while enjoying themselves with this one.
What's too much, yo. Too much, yo. You've been loving me too much, yo. And you must continue to show. Nobody can love me the way you do. Only you be my papa. You can give me special blessing, yo. You've been loving me too much, yo. And you must continue to show. Nobody can love me the way you do. Only you be my papa. You can give me special blessing, yo. Let's go, say Igwe. Say Igwe. Yo. And your mercy continue to show. they give me special blessing, oh. Yes, Jesus. I can see you love the blessing, oh. How you do it, only you would know. Nobody can love it the way you do. Only you people for God. You they give me special blessing, oh. You they give me special blessing, oh. Igwe, 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 Igwe. We the boy Igwe, say Igwe, 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 Igwe. We the boy Igwe, say Igwe, 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 Igwe. We the boy. Listen, say oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah. Say now you be God, oh yeah. Now you be God, oh. Now you be King, oh yeah. Now you be King, oh. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah. 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 Now you be God, oh. Now you be God, oh. Now you be King, oh yeah. Now you be King, oh. Say oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah. 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 Hey, now you be God, oh yeah. Now you be King, oh yeah. Now you be King, oh. Listen, forever I could praise you forever. Forever I could praise you forever. Oh, forever I could praise you forever. Yes, Lord. Forever I could praise you forever, forever, forever. Forever I could praise you forever. Forever, 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 yeah. Forever, forever, yeah. Forever. Oh yeah, sing it, sing it. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah. Now you be God, oh yeah. Now you be God, oh. Now you be King, oh yeah. Now you be King, oh. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah. 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 Now you be God, oh yeah. Now you be God, oh. Now you be King, oh yeah. Now you be King, oh. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah. 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 Say, now you be God, oh yeah. Now you be God, oh. Now you be King, oh. Now you be King, oh. Hallelujah, Jesus. God bless you.